So back in 1988, a little movie called Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers hit theaters. It followed the events of Halloween 1 and 2, 10 years later. In it, Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie Strode, is presumed dead, and the role of protagonist is shifted over to her alleged daughter, Jamie, and her adopted sister, Rachel. I'm sure you've all seen this one. Michael chases Rachel and Jamie throughout Haddonfield, while Dr. Loomis acts all, well, senile and shit. Ultimately ending with Michael getting shot firing squad style and falling down a mine shaft. Classic. But what if I told you this wasn't the original version of the movie? That's right, there's an abandoned Halloween 4 script somewhere out there that's completely different. One that we would never have known about until now. After the letdown of Part 3 and the lack of The Shape, John Carpenter approached Dennis Etchison? I think it's Etchison? I don't know. We're just going to call him Dennis. About writing a script for Halloween 4. He was immediately on board, and directly after finishing the script, Carpenter called him and told him that he and Deborah Hill sold the rights to Halloween, and the script couldn't be used. Well, fuck them. That was just a huge waste of time. I mean, what the hell is that about? With that being said, let's honor it by seeing what it could have been. So starting out, Loomis is dead. The explosion in the hospital straight up killed him, and Michael too. Well, allegedly. 10 years after the events of the first two films, Halloween is banned in Haddonfield, and parents have been keeping a close watch on their kids. The mother of Lindsay Wallace, the young girl from the first film, is shown having a nightmare, where Lindsay's walking up the stairs towards her, and then Michael emerges from her skin, just like burst out of it like a costume. And then blood begins to pour out from everywhere. Shining style. Tommy still lives across the street, but they aren't really allowed to interact with each other anymore. It then shows Sheriff Brackett and Deputy Hunt, returning from the originals. They've been busy dealing with all the fallout that still plagues the town ever since Michael's rampage. Not to mention Brackett is basically a shadow of who he was, showing greatly how bad Annie's death has affected him. A reporter named Mundy begins stirring up trouble in town as he runs around bringing up Halloween and Michael Myers in order to boost his own ratings. Mundy goes to Smith's Grove to meet up with Dr. Stern. She shows him a videotape of Loomis interacting with Michael, to show how Loomis dealt with the young boy. She explains that in her mind, Loomis created the Shape due to feeding into the hysteria of Michael being pure evil rather than a human being. The tape shows Michael sitting in a white room with his back to Loomis. And Loomis, in true Loomis fashion of course, is screaming at Michael in that crazy voice, asking if he remembers what happened to his sister and that he's not fooling anybody, hiding what he truly is. And then he asks him, Michael! Do you know what you are? You don't know what you are! Why are you hiding? Come on, Michael, come out! I know what you really are! And then he asks Michael what they call him, where he comes from, implying that he's a demon or some shit, and then he raises his fist to him in anger. But yeah, no wonder he became a serial killer, dealing with this fucking guy. Loomis goes on berating Michael for a little bit longer, and then Michael slowly turns around and tilts his head at him, like he always does. Honestly, Loomis is just fucking crazy. I mean, he does have a rational reason for being this way towards Michael. Michael did kill his sister and stuff, and has like zero emotion and everything, but, you know, just chill the fuck out, man. So anyway, he goes further into the facility and notices a statue that the other inmates have made out of sticks and straw or something, and the skinned face of a white rabbit is placed over its head, kind of portraying the Shatner mask. Basically, the other inmates idolize Michael as a god. Then we have Lonnie, the kid lurking around the Myers house in the original film. You remember him. Hey Lonnie, get your ass away from there. Yeah, that guy. He and some friends go to a drive-in where the climax of the movie takes place. But more on that later. A PSA is shown on the screen where they're talking about how horror movies should be allowed because they're just movies after all, and people enjoy them. Well, I agree. I would be pissed if movies got banned here. Oh wait, they did. So one of the girls in Lonnie's group travels to the outskirts of town to buy a pumpkin from a guy who blatantly looks and sounds like Freddy Krueger, and may even have been Robert Englund if the movie would have been made. So the girl's walking through the pumpkin patch, and suddenly there's an avalanche of pumpkins everywhere, and she trips and falls, and a scarecrow falls on top of her. Michael emerges from a mound of pumpkins, like a stripper coming out of a cake, and stabs her. Meanwhile, some kids in the neighborhood try to break into the old Myers house. One of the kids, Billy, who's Lonnie's younger brother, sends his dog inside, and when it comes back out, it coughs up 2 human fingers. Wait a minute, what? So I guess it's speculated that those are Michael's fingers, but they don't really say. I mean, if it is his fingers, this guy just kills and eats dogs on the regular, and this one time he gets his fingers bit off? Yeah. The next scene is just crazy, so bear with me. The delinquent kids go into a Halloween store and grab a shit ton of William Shatner masks, and then they run out. The shop owner is just kind of and shrugs it off, saying fuck it, and then he goes to the back and fucks a girl. They start having sex, and the guy's on top of the girl thrusting or whatever, and he starts thrusting harder and harder. The girl tells him it's too much and tells him to slow down. Then the camera slowly starts to pan up to a 3-fingered hand holding the guy's head, moving him like a puppet. Alright, hold on. What the fuck is this about? The hand then drops the guy to the ground, who I guess was strangled to death. And the hand proceeds to jam a knife into the girl. Yeah, I'm guessing that was Michael's hand with the 3 fingers after all. I don't even know where to go from there. I mean, what? Anyway, so back to the drive-in where the climax takes place. So a bunch of cars are parked around the drive-in as a movie plays, and there's a thick fog surrounding the vehicles. Lonnie and his friends wander through the fog, discovering the bodies of moviegoers that lay victim to Michael. They don't show him kill anybody here, just the aftermath. Then Michael appears and chases Lonnie up to the projector booth. Once there, Michael passes by a projector playing Friday the 13th, which casts a shadow of him standing over Jason on the screen, teasing everybody. Well, yeah, that just gives me blue balls, so thanks for that. Suddenly the film burns through and the screen goes white. Then, Lonnie watches in disbelief as Michael's fingers start growing back. Wait, what? I mean, the supernatural thing's okay, and the not dying part is fine, but I'm drawing the line here at regeneration, no. So Lonnie dies, and then the real protagonist, Lindsay Wallace, shows up. He chases her through the lot, knocking over speaker stands as he goes. Just then, the kids that broke into the Myers house show up, wearing silver spray-painted Shatner masks. Then the cops show up as well, and proceed to have a standoff against Michael and the hoodlum kids. There's also people running around all crazy and shit in a panic. Tommy Doyle even shows up. Amidst all the pandemonium going on, Dr. Stern shows up from the hospital and calls out to Michael, offering to take him back to Smith's Grove in order to weed him out of the crowd of Michaels. And without hesitation, he grabs her and throws her aside. Deputy Hunt shoots Michael directly in the chest, but he brushes it off and kills him, and then continues after Lindsay. It's here where Tommy Doyle grabs a gun and shoots Michael point blank in the dick, and then directly in the head, blowing off a piece of his skull. And there you go, he's dead. Oh, wait a minute, he's not? Yeah, that figures. This literally does nothing but pisses him off. So if the fingers growing back wasn't bad enough, pay attention for this next part. Once Tommy's shot fails, the cops unload on Michael firing squad style, similar to the original ending we got in the other part 4. But then Michael absorbs each of the shots, causing him to grow rapidly and eventually become 12 feet tall. You don't know what you are! The shots begin to bounce off Michael and hit nearby cars, resulting in one explosion after another around the shape. Ultimately, Tommy and Lindsay are assumed dead in an explosion, but they do survive and go on the run to evade Michael. They find a barn and hide out, but Michael finds them and kills Lindsay. This turns out to be a dream, though, when she wakes up in the barn the following day after falling asleep that night. And then it shows a pumpkin patch on a sunny day and goes straight to credits, playing the Halloween theme. So I guess Michael is just MIA this whole time. I mean, they didn't really say if he lives or dies at the drive-in or not. Alright, well, aside from growing 12 feet tall and growing his damn fingers back, it wasn't all that bad. I mean, was it really better than the Halloween 4 we got? What do you guys think? I think basically what Dennis was trying to say through the film is that Michael Myers is the Shape. Not a man, not a human being, but he truly is pure evil in the shape of a man. Even in the shell of what used to be a man. That's the message I believe he was trying to display in the film. Well, would you rather have had this version or the other one? Alright, guys. See you later.